Okay, this is an alternative view on the Second World War by Max de Jong. That's myself. Okay, so well, during the 30s and the 20s, at the time, it was the there was the mafia, there was Al Capone, there was the beer wars, the alcohol wars, fighting over hot spirits and stuff like that. Mafia and big gangs, loads of people getting killed, big domination, loads of money made, absolutely loads of money. It was very, very popular. Beer, spirits. Right, so that's the pre Second World War. Right, so then what's gone on actually is a big fraud because actually the Second World War is also a beer war. Right now, um, Indo Holland had created the beer industry. The first beer company is Heineken, and it's from Holland, and they've still got their factories there right now. Right, and then it went to Germany and became the beer companies in Germany, and their beer companies. Right, so now in the 20s, there's a huge beer war going on all around the world, in America especially, with Al Capone. Right, so these beer companies were making money, and what happened next is devastating. So the Scottish, right, are alcoholics. Not all of them, but they love their whiskey. Right now, they wanted that beer company of Germany. Right, so now the Scottish organised D-Day, not Churchill. The Scottish did. Right now, these Scottish whiskey companies that wanted to steal the beer companies of Hitler in Germany. So now the Scottish set up D-Day to go to war and get those beer companies, and now the Scottish own the beer companies after the Second World War. And the whole war is a beer war. And the Scottish set the British up, and 60, 90 million people died in the Second World War. Not all the Scottish are doing that. It's a Scottish witch group. Witches in Scotland are not popular. Let's look at Macbeth, set in Scotland. Witches there. So not only was it a beer war against Germany to steal their German beer companies, which certainly the Scottish ended up with beer companies, but also stolen everything Hitler owned, including the car companies, electronic industry, the banks, and also Hitler was the head of all the head of the Architects Association, all properties. So now it's now owned by rogue Scottish people that jeopardised hundreds and millions of thousands of British soldiers to fight a beer war for Scotland. That now profited all the assets and haven't shared it with the British people. In fact, they're starving them to death currently, treating us like we're the enemy. Yet we had to fight their wars, their beer wars. So, to all the veterans and soldiers and British Army that were conned and ripped off by rogue people, where they're from is irrelevant. They're witches, right? They're from Scotland, that's right. They set up D-Day behind Churchill's back. They advised him that it was a Scottish regiment that created D-Day, right? That's the Allies' involvement, and then a 90 million loss of people. All because the Scottish want the beer companies of Germany, which they did ascertain afterwards, after the Second World War. All the pubs, for instance, are the enemy of the British people and the British Army. The pub landlords, Weatherspoons, are calling the British spoons. The Scottish are doing that over and out. So, without question, we know that the beer companies were stolen and at the cost of millions and millions of British soldiers, right? And then they're now being starved to death and made homeless by the property owners today that are actually led by Scottish witches. So now the pubs are conning the British people, serving them beer every day. In reality, these pubs must be taken over by the British people, and it's their pubs now. They fucking had to spill the blood to get those pubs. They shall own the pubs now. Over and out.